In a moment that stunned the internet, Diddy's son sat down in front of a camera, trembling, eyes filled with years of pain. There were no lights, no handlers, no Hollywood polish, just truth. And it hit harder than anyone expected. Through tears, he spoke the words that would ignite a firestorm across the entertainment world. I couldn't say no. With that, everything changed. He wasn't just talking about a bad childhood or celebrity pressure. He was exposing a machine, one that operates on silence, manipulation, and unchecked power. The man the world saw as a mogul, a genius, a symbol of black excellence, was suddenly stripped of his glamour. The child behind the scenes, meanwhile, was left to navigate trauma that no one should face, especially not alone.
The rapper Jay-Z has been accused of raping a 13-year-old girl back in 2000, allegedly along with Sean Diddy Combs. Our US correspondent Martha Kellner has more details.
This civil suit was originally filed back in October against Sean Combs, better known as P. Diddy. It has now been amended to also include allegations against Jay-Z, whose real name is Sean Carter. In this civil suit, a woman says that when she was a 13-year-old girl back in the year 2000, that she attended an after party for the MTV Video Music Awards, during which she says she was raped by Jay-Z and P. Diddy. She says that Jay-Z removed her clothes, pinned her down and raped her while P. Diddy and an unnamed female celebrity watched on. She says she was then raped by P. Diddy as Jay-Z and this female celebrity watched on once again. Jay-Z has dismissed in a lengthy statement these claims as idiotic. He's also attacked the character and legitimacy of the lawyer who has brought these claims. In his statement, Jay-Z directly addresses that lawyer. He says, "These allegations are so heinous in nature that I implore you to file a criminal complaint, not a civil one. Whomever would commit such a crime against a minor should be locked away. Would you not agree? My only heartbreak is for my family. My wife and I will have to sit our children down, one of whom is at the age where her friends will surely see the press and ask questions about the nature of these claims and explain the cruelty and greed of people."
As his voice cracked, viewers could feel the weight of years of suppressed truth. His story wasn't one of privilege, it was one of control, of being placed in spaces where he never felt safe, of witnessing things no child should ever see. He wasn't protected, he was groomed. And when he finally found the courage to speak, it wasn't just about his father anymore. It became a mirror held up to an entire industry. This wasn't a scandal, it was a revelation. And as the clip went viral, a question echoed across timelines and headlines. If Diddy's son was living in fear, how many others were suffering in silence? But the truth didn't stop with a tearful confession. What came next revealed just how dark the world behind the velvet ropes really was.
Turning now to the dismissed civil suit against Jay-Z and Sean Diddy Combs, a woman who accused the two hip-hop artists of sexual assault when she was 13, dropping that lawsuit on Friday. Diddy and Jay-Z denying any wrongdoing, Jay-Z calling the allegations frivolous, fictitious, and appalling. Diddy's legal team insisting the dismissal is, quote, yet another confirmation that these lawsuits are built on falsehoods, not facts.
And joining us now with the latest on this is senior investigative correspondent Aaron Katersky. Aaron, thank you so much for being here. So you were telling us that the accuser in the civil suit dismissed the lawsuit with prejudice, which means they can't file it again. Do we know why?
Well, it's going away entirely, and they did not give a reason. But the defense for Jay-Z and for Sean Combs had said there were glaring inconsistencies in the then 13-year-old's account, which supposedly this took place at the 2000 MTV Video Music Awards. Her father had driven her to the location. The father then said he didn't really remember doing that, so that there weren't enough facts to establish what she alleged, even though at first her attorneys stood by her until just this past Friday.
Now, in a statement, Jay-Z said in part, "The trauma that my wife, my children, loved ones, and I have endured can never be dismissed." Is there any chance that he takes some sort of legal recourse here?
We haven't heard that he is going to do anything more with regard to this lawsuit, but his attorney has certainly threatened to impose sanctions against the plaintiff's attorney. That effort may go away now that the lawsuit has been dropped, but Jay-Z has said even in other legal filings that he suffered financial harm, that he suffered, certainly as the statement reflects, emotional harm because of the allegations and of all the lawsuits against Combs in particular. This one may have been the most difficult because the allegation involved a woman who says she was 13.
Inside the party scene, celebrities, secrets, and control. Diddy's parties were more than wild. They were a spectacle. Lavish locations, A-list names, and a glamorous facade that masked something much more disturbing. For years, these gatherings were whispered about, glamorized in magazines and music videos. But behind the flashing lights was a cold, calculated world of manipulation and control. His son described the parties from a terrifying perspective. He was a minor surrounded by adults who acted like rules didn't apply. Drugs and alcohol flowed like water. Women danced topless. Celebrities laughed and posed for photos, but in the shadows, fear lingered. His son wasn't just present, he was trapped.
You know why Puff's parties are so cool, man? Because you can't get into the party. It doesn't matter what the fuck's going on in the party. Nothing cool is going on in the party. It's a party. But you can't, for some fucking reason, at his party, you can't get into his party. So now what do you want to do? Get into that man's party and see what the fuck all the hubbub's about. So right now I have a do not fucking enter sign on Machine Gun Kelly, man.
Former bodyguards and insiders confirmed what many had only speculated. Phones were banned, conversations were monitored, guests were warned. Speak about what happens here and you're out. Careers were tied to compliance. Privacy wasn't protected, it was weaponized. These weren't parties, they were stages for control. The powerful stayed in power by controlling what others saw, and more importantly, what they didn't. For a young child raised in this chaos, it became normal. But now that he's older, he's finally naming it for what it was: abuse of power. And the worst part, these events weren't isolated. They were patterns, routine, rehearsed, and protected by the silence of an entire industry. As the smoke and mirrors faded, one thing became clear: this wasn't about fun. It was about domination, and that manipulation started far earlier than anyone realized.
I invite you to all my parties, you just haven't seemed to show up.
I could think of you of starting a party at like midnight.
That's a different type of party. Yeah. No, I mean the after party.
No, I know about them.
The grooming process, exploiting vulnerability. Grooming isn't always obvious. It's not always violent. Often it starts with subtle shifts, small actions that blur boundaries and break down resistance. That's exactly how it began for Diddy's son. Not with one event, but with 1,000 quiet moments that taught him to obey, to smile, to never question. He was told to act older, to be quiet, to go along with everything, even when it didn't feel right, even when his body screamed that something was wrong. Over time, this conditioning left him numb, able to perform, unable to escape. That's how grooming works. It isolates, it confuses, and it convinces victims that the house is normal. Diddy's son said he didn't even realize what was happening until much later in life. And by then, the emotional damage was deep. Like many survivors, he carried the burden of guilt, shame, and silence. For years, he didn't speak, not just out of fear, but because he thought no one would believe him. Or worse, that people would protect the abuser over the abused. This is the system, and it's not just one family. It's an entire industry that grooms children under the guise of mentorship. An industry that hides its crimes behind success, fame, and billion-dollar brands. And as his voice grew louder, it cast a spotlight on others. Powerful people who weren't just complicit, but may have been active participants.
A new Diddy accuser claiming he was sexually assaulted, raped, and humiliated at a freak-off party in Miami, and that other big stars saw him in rough shape. TMZ is all over this story. Branson Quirk joining us live. Now, Branson, let me get this right. This new Diddy accuser is basically claiming he was sexually assaulted at the freak-off party, and he claims that other celebrities were there as well.
Yes, exactly. In this lawsuit, and it's important to note that these names are not being sued, but they are named as witnesses inside this lawsuit, those names being Jay-Z, Beyonce, Gloria Estefan, as well as LeBron James. Just to paint you a little bit of a picture of this horrific lawsuit, a man by the name of Joseph Marzano, he claims that he had, in the beginning of this lawsuit, he claims that he woke up in a mansion, this is way back in April of 2015, in a mansion owned by Gloria and Emilio Estefan. And when he woke up, not knowing how he got there, he was then led through a tunnel to Diddy's house. And we can confirm that Diddy, his home is nearby to Gloria and Emilio Estefan's home. And once he was through this tunnel, he eventually came across and claimed that LeBron James was walking by in a towel of sorts, saw him in rough shape, and said, someone's got to do something about this. And then continuing on through that, they ended up stripping his clothes. They put a demoralizing mask on him, genitalia mask of sorts on his face to humiliate him. And then he claims that Beyonce and Jay-Z saw him in this mask, prompting Beyonce to then ask, why is there this man in front of me wearing this mask? And then claims that going forward, he doesn't remember too much more, and he said that he was drugged and everything. So just given all of these facts, I mean, there is an alibi. TMZ did do some research. Jay-Z was actually in New York City on April 1st, so that kind of...
Celebrities entangled, allegations and implications. As the story unraveled, it became clear that Diddy's son wasn't the only one harmed, and Diddy wasn't the only one involved. He revealed that major celebrities, names we see on magazine covers, award shows, and platinum records were present during these traumatic moments. Some simply watched, others participated. He didn't drop names, but he didn't have to. People were quick to fill in the blanks. Online sleuths began pulling old interviews, dissecting song lyrics, and unearthing photos from Diddy's infamous parties. Patterns emerged, connections made sense, and what had been written off as celebrity gossip suddenly felt like evidence.
Beyonce is losing hundreds of thousands, millions of followers every day. And she still hasn't said anything. Just pretending like life is great in Paris.
Is it her place to say something?
I mean, probably not, considering she's gonna be indicted for anything she would say. These are criminals. Diddy is a drug dealer, and so is Jay-Z. The proof is there.
Why were so many stars always at Diddy's parties? Why were young artists passed around under the guise of mentorship? Why did so many careers rise or fall based on who stayed silent? The whispers got louder. Justin Bieber, Usher, Jay-Z, Beyonce, all names now caught in the storm of implication. Not necessarily because they're guilty, but because they were there. And silence in this world often speaks louder than words. But if silence protected the system, one woman may have been ready to blow the whole thing wide open before it was too late.
A shocking new lawsuit against music mogul Diddy has emerged, alleging that Beyonce, Jay-Z, and LeBron James witnessed an incident of humiliation at one of Diddy's notorious freak-off parties. The event allegedly took place during a birthday celebration on Star Island in Miami in April 2015. The plaintiff, Joseph Manzaro, claims he was given substances without his consent and brought to the Diddy party as punishment for perceived disloyalty. Upon arriving at Star Island, he encountered LeBron James walking down a hallway, clad only in a bath towel. The lawsuit quotes LeBron as saying, quote, "Y'all better do something about that," end quote, when he saw Manzaro's condition. Manzaro was then guided through an underground tunnel into Diddy's mansion, entering a sprawling party area where he spotted Beyonce and Jay-Z. He alleges that he was paraded around the mansion with a rock strapped to his face, while Diddy instructed guests to mock him. Beyonce reportedly questioned, quote, "Why is this half-naked white man with a rock mask standing here in front of me," end quote. A friend of Diddy allegedly replied, "Diddy wants him to see what we do to those who betray us. This is part of his punishment." The lawsuit states that Manzaro was moved through multiple rooms, enduring ongoing humiliation. Importantly, Manzaro is not suing Beyonce, Jay-Z, or LeBron James. His lawsuit targets Diddy, former adult film star Adria English, who allegedly led him around, and Brendan Paul, accused of supplying substances. While Beyonce, Jay-Z, and LeBron James are not defendants, their alleged presence has sparked significant media attention. Diddy denies all claims. This just in.
Kim Porter's role, leaked drives and hidden evidence. Before her untimely death, Kim Porter, Diddy's longtime partner and the mother of his children, was reportedly preparing to speak out. What she left behind could be the smoking gun investigators need to tear the industry wide open. Multiple insiders have confirmed that Kim passed flash drives to trusted contacts before her death. On them, hours of footage from Diddy's private events. Footage that allegedly shows illegal behavior, drug use, and celebrities being filmed without their knowledge.
Diddy's ex-wife, Kim Porter, jumps out of nowhere here to make a crazy and random comment about this photo of Jay-Z and Diddy.
But one of you and Jay-Z really stands out to me. Do you remember that time?
Yeah, that was at one of my birthday parties, and I was just telling him I appreciated him coming through in private after one of his shows.
We call that picture a secret society. All we ask is trust.
What?
Some say she was working on a tell-all book. Others believe she was preparing to go public. Either way, many now believe her sudden passing wasn't just a tragedy. It was a silencing. Because if those drives prove real. They could take down some of the biggest names in the world. The files are now in the hands of authorities. And while no one knows exactly what's on them, the fear in Hollywood is real. Executives are lawyering up, publicists are going into overdrive, and celebrities once proud to name drop Diddy are now quietly scrubbing their past. But as the case builds, the truth is finally starting to emerge, and the silence that protected the powerful
kept hidden. Stick around as we break down the claims, explore Rogan's explosive commentary, and dig deep into the darker side of Hollywood that the industry doesn't want you to see. By the end of this video, you might never look at the music industry or its biggest stars the same way again.
Sometimes you have to tell Diddy no.
Oh man, bro.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man.
Sean Diddy Combs' alleged list of accomplishments to be revealed soon. The names will shock you, attorney says. Whoa.
I think he's gonna sing, if I got invited to the white party, I'd have gone.
Especially if you didn't know.
Of course, no one knew. No one
right.
knew.
If and then you don't know, you're just a celebrity, and you know, oh, Jennifer Lopez is gonna be there. Oh, Rick Ross is gonna be there. Everyone's gonna be there. That would be a cool place. I wanna meet.
The culture of fear, NDAs, threats, and forced silence. Behind every disturbing detail in this story lies an even darker truth. None of it stayed hidden by accident. Diddy's son revealed how fear was used as a weapon. Contracts, NDAs, intimidation. It wasn't just about trauma, it was about control. Victims weren't just scared of what had happened, they were terrified of what would happen if they told the truth. Many were forced to sign paperwork that kept them quiet for years. Some were threatened, others were paid off. Careers were dangled like bait. Speak and lose everything. Diddy's son admitted he stayed silent not because he didn't care, but because he knew what the cost would be. And for too long, that fear kept him and others in a chokehold. But now the cracks are showing. Lawsuits are being filed, investigations are moving fast, and those NDAs, they're starting to look like red flags, not protection. The silence is ending, and with every voice that comes forward, the structure built to keep them quiet is beginning to collapse. And as Diddy's world crumbles, the spotlight turns to the empire he built and how fast it's now falling apart. The fall of Diddy, from icon to investigation. Diddy's descent from music legend to criminal investigation target has been swift and devastating. Once celebrated as a visionary, he's now being investigated for some of the most serious charges imaginable: sex trafficking, coercion, racketeering. His name, once associated with wealth and success, is now tied to scandal and silence. Brands have dropped him, industry allies are vanishing, former employees are coming forward with stories they once buried out of fear. Lawsuits are stacking up, and the public image he spent decades perfecting has been shattered in a matter of months. But what's most chilling is Diddy's reaction. He's not staying silent. Insiders claim he's panicking behind the scenes, and he's willing to name names, not just to protect himself, but to drag everyone down with him. And the people closest to him, they're no longer standing by his side. In fact, some are trying to run far away, especially the two names no one expected to be pulled into this mess.
Sometimes you have to tell Diddy no.
Oh man, bruh.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh man.
Sean Diddy Combs' alleged list of accomplishments to be revealed soon. The names will shock you, attorney says. Whoa.
I think he's gonna sing, if I got invited to the white party, I'd have gone.
Especially if you didn't know.
Of course, no one knew. No one
right.
knew.
If and you don't know, you're just a celebrity, and you know, oh, Jennifer Lopez is gonna be there. Oh, Rick Ross is gonna be there. Everyone's gonna be there. That would be a cool place. I want to meet those people.
Fact.
Brotherhood. Broken, Jay-Z and Beyonce pulled into the fire. For years, Jay-Z and Beyonce seemed untouchable. Icons, moguls, royalty in the entertainment world. But now, with Diddy under intense scrutiny and allegedly cooperating with authorities, the couple's name has been dragged into a scandal that could shake their empire. Whispers have turned to rumors, and rumors to shock. Alleged footage from one of Diddy's infamous parties may include the Carters themselves, something insiders say Diddy is using as leverage. Jay-Z, once seen as Diddy's brother-in-arms, is now reportedly cutting all ties behind the scenes. Beyonce? She's silent, carefully managed, watching as the brand she spent years building teeters under speculation. And fans are split. Are they innocent bystanders, guilty of being too close? Or is their silence a signal of something deeper? The truth is, the questions are growing louder, and the answers are nowhere to be found. But beyond the individual names, something much bigger is happening. The industry itself is facing a moment it can no longer outrun.
Everyone, there's raids at Diddy's house.
This is how Joe Rogan reacts when his newsfeed gets flooded with P. Diddy news.
It's there. My news feed is dominated by it. Fox News, CNN, everyone. There's raids at Diddy's house.
Yeah, Diddy's in a tricky situation. I think it's over.
You think it's over?
I think it's over for him as like a figure in entertainment.
Right. But you think it's over as him as far as
jail?
like he gets a cell right next to R. Kelly?
I don't think so. I don't think he gets locked
I think he
up.
skates.
I think he skates. Or he goes to
Really?
like Bali.
That's a move, huh?
Hollywood's reckoning. Is this the moment everything changes? This isn't just about Diddy. It's not even just about Jay-Z or Beyonce. This is about an industry that's finally being forced to confront its own darkness. One confession from a tearful son cracked the wall. Now the flood is here. More victims are stepping forward. More lawsuits are being filed. More celebrities are watching the walls close in. And the public? They're no longer buying the polished PR and perfect Instagram posts. They want truth. They want accountability. They want justice.
Jay-Z, Beyonce, LeBron James, and Gloria Estefan saw him in a rough shape. Not Gloria Estefan. Okay. Diddy is being sued for trafficking by a Florida man named Joseph Manzaro, who claims Diddy humiliated him at an April 2015 birthday party for King Combs by strapping a private penis to his face and parading him around. In a lawsuit obtained by TMZ, Manzaro claims he was drugged and transported to Star Island in Miami for the big party in April 2015. He says he was first dragged into the back entrance of Emilio and Gloria Estefan's mansion, where panicked Gloria saw his drug-induced stupor and demanded someone call an ambulance. Manzaro claims Emilio quickly silenced Gloria and ushered her way into the crowd. And then he says he saw LeBron walking through a hallway in a bath towel. Not in a bath towel. He says that LeBron James looked at him and said, "You guys better do something about that." Docs, Manzaro claims ex-porn star Adria English then led him through a secret tunnel to Diddy's mansion, and he regained partial consciousness in a large party area where he noticed Beyonce and Jay-Z. Manzaro claims when Beyonce saw him, she asked, "What's this? What's this all about? Why is this half-naked white man with a cock mask standing here in front of me?" He says one of Diddy's goons told Beyonce Diddy wants him to see what we do to snitches. This is part of his punishment. Diddy's accusers claim he was enforcibly paraded through multiple rooms with people who jeered and taunted him, and he says Diddy ordered him to be degraded, calling out, "He's gonna find out what we do to snitches tonight, get him undressed." Manzaro says he was stripped and then dressed into a small thong bikini bottom and a black leather mask with a rubber dam forcibly inserted and zipped closed over his head.
Hollywood, once built on silence, is trembling. The whispers of exploitation, grooming, and manipulation have turned into a roar. And the old rules, that money and fame could hide anything, are no longer working. This may be the moment the mask finally drops. A reckoning decades in the making, and as Diddy's empire burns, the flames are reaching higher than anyone imagined. Because when the truth comes out, no one is safe.